All righty, welcome everybody. Happy Friday to everybody out there. We're gonna go over a few things today. Again, I'm gonna be delving into the Federal Reserve, and actually had this question asked by one of our listeners. That's a good title of a bit that I should do. Will central banks destroy us all? We're going to talk about the latest from the Fed and inflation. Again, we have to continue discussing what's taken place in the UK. The mainstream media has gotten it all wrong. The conventional wisdom that's being put out there is complete poison. Snap, one big, fat, juicy. I should probably put a little counter behind us here. And it's the see I told you so moment calculator. I don't even know what number we're up to. But anyway, Snap numbers coming in, and we told you from the get-go that this company was an example of the greater fools philosophy theory that we try to explain to people over the program. And we're going to do something on Friday a little bit different here. It's going to be kind of like a quick hit Friday, little stories here and there that I found very, very interesting. We'll go through that on the end. But let me first remind everybody as well, take advantage of everything we have to offer at our website at watchdogonwallstreet.com. Again, we have obviously in years like this, these are years where we're working our buttocks off at Markowski Investments. Take advantage, our personal CFO program. Take a look at how we've been handling all of this volatility. Take a look at the performance that we've had over the years, not to mention a myriad of other things, account repair kits, newsletter, of course, podcast, radio show, all sorts of great stuff. Get to our website at watchdogonwallstreet.com. So there's this guy, writes for the Wall Street Journal, and I've talked about him before here on the show. His name is Nick Timiraos, and Nick is kind of like the go-to guy for the Fed when it comes to them trying to slowly but surely get information out. At least that's what it seems. Anyway, he had a piece, came out, wasn't part of the Wall Street Journal's print edition today. It was on the website later on in the morning, talking about how the Fed is set to raise rates by 75 basis points in November, but there's a debate that's taking place within the Fed, debate that's taking place saying whether or not we should start slowing down come December, see what's going on. Stock market futures were way off. Then they came back. Market opened up big. It's bouncing around now. Again, more volatility. We'll delve into this, but there's another headline I want to give you. This was fascinating to me. Again, it's pretty well clear. It's been listening to this podcast. My thoughts when it comes to central banks and these fools at the Federal Reserve, these 400 PhD economists that get it wrong all the time. But you know what? I learned something today. I didn't know this. One of my favorites, Judy Shelton. Judy Shelton, who they didn't allow on the Federal Reserve Board because she's smarter than they are, made the point out that over 90% of the economists at the Fed are donkeys. Makes sense. Again, I didn't know that. 90% are registered donkeys. Anyway, you got this Philadelphia Federal Reserve President, Patrick Harper. He's given a speech yesterday. Now follow this one. He's saying that higher interest rates have done little to keep inflation in check, so more increases will be needed. I'm not making this is a PhD. He's saying, what we've been doing isn't working. Let's do more of it. Again, last time I checked, that is the definition of stupidity / insanity, is it not? Yep, we keep raising rates at a record pace here. It's not working. So you know what? We're going to do more. More cowbell. Great Saturday Night Live skit with Christopher Walken. Remember that one? Blue Oyster Cult, Will Ferrell. Anyway, yeah. He's Harker's calling on more cowbell. Mm-hmm. Not going to do a damn thing unless you're planning on really breaking things and taking the economy down. Is that what you want? Is that what you really want? Couple stories looking at when it comes to the housing market right now, and it's coming down. It's collapsing. I keep thinking of great book by Michael Lewis, and they did a really good job with the film Big Short, and the scene where they go down to Florida to investigate. They actually they didn't believe what was going on. They had to see for their own eyes what was taking place in the Florida real estate market. All I had to do was actually listen to my radio show. I didn't have a podcast at the time. Listen to my radio show back at that point in time, and I was, everything's going to collapse down here in Florida. This is a disaster. You'll see. But there's that scene, and they're driving around with the real estate agent, and they're probing her for information. And she keeps saying, "Oh, we're just in a little gully right now. We're just in a little gully." Right. Sure you are. Anyway, yeah, a lot of these markets that are still holding up, they are going to crack. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I like to, finish up with this story today before I get into the points I'd like to make. CNN continues to be stuck on stupid. Do you remember that? Stuck. I love that line. There was that, I can't remember the name of, I don't know, he was a general, colonel something, military, high ranking, that came in to the mess that was Hurricane Katrina relief with FEMA. Remember George W. Bush? "Brownie, you're doing a hell of a job." Brownie. What a cluster, you know what. This guy military comes in and cleans the whole thing up, and he was going off on some media types and whatnot. He's like, "What are you, stuck on stupid?" Well, yeah, CNN is still stuck on stupid. Why inflation can actually be good for everyday Americans and bad for rich people. I shit you not. This is a story on CNN and how inflation can be a good thing for working class Americans. You mean to tell me that it's good for working class Americans? I got to pay more for everyday items, the bare necessities. How is that good when that makes up a greater portion of their discretionary income, for crying out loud? That's an actual CNN piece. Anyway, back to the folly of the Fed. They can't fix it. They can't fix the problem that they helped create. They can't. There are a lot of people like to completely blame the Fed. They're just enablers. That's all. That's enablers. You want to think of it this way. Let's try to put it this way. You have, let's say you have, and this is an all too often occurrence here in the United States, family member, somebody you know that's fallen by drug addiction and comes to their demise. Again, I don't want to be morbid on a Friday. I'm just trying to make a comparison here. Is it the drug dealer's fault? Is it the drug dealer's fault, or is it's with the individual? Okay, personal responsibility. The Fed's an enabler of the U.S. government. Who enables the U.S. government? We do. We do. I want. Gimme. And it's just we don't have enough people of high character, of people that, it's just a collection of people who have just had an ethical bypass at birth. All they care about is their career. I remember this, when did the show start? Had to be like 2009 or 10. I can't remember. Maybe it was a little bit later than that. And Kevin Spacey, and he's gone now, but House of Cards. The show House of Cards, and it's showing the politics, what goes on in Washington, D.C. And I try to explain to people, this is real. was real. I would go to DC back when I used to do Radio Row at inaugurations and all of these things, and I just always felt dirty there. It's like you got to take an extra shower a day. These are people that they just care about themselves. We need people that want to go and serve and then go back home. That's what our founders wanted. Somebody that's going to actually say no. That was the famous moniker that they gave the late, great Senator Tom Coburn. They used to call him Dr. No. You can't have everything. You can't. It's not good for us. It's funny, that was part of the sermon this past week at church. They had all the second graders there at church, and they're starting their process to first communion, and the priest was talking to the kids, and your parents giving you everything you want, and one kid raised his hand. His mother's like, "No, I don't." The priest starts laughing. He's like, you may want to have 5 pounds of candy every single day, but it's not good for you. We don't have any checks and balances in regards to anything. That was one kind of the brilliance of our Constitution as well, is the checks and balances that were put in there. And, we're getting some of it now from the Supreme Court in a few cases here and there, which I like to see. But let's be honest, the legislative branch and the executive branch work hand in hand to further their needs and what we like to call the watchdog on Wall Street axis of evil, big business, politicians, and the mainstream media. We got to learn from these central bankers and what they've done, and the money printing, and the fact that we are this far in debt, and what it does and how it hinders upward mobility here in this country, how it makes things more difficult. And we need to get back, quite frankly, to the overall beauty of the free market, because it is a beautiful thing. It's like nature. Nature's a beautiful thing. It really is. It can be a dangerous thing. It can be a dangerous thing, but it kind of is what it is. Okay? You can't fight it. You just have to let it work. And I've talked about the economist Joseph Schumpeter here on the program, and creative destruction, and how the phoenix will rise from the ashes. Companies are going to fail. They're going to go by the wayside. And that's what we need to come back to, the free market, pricing of money. We don't have that because of these central bankers, and the central bankers enable our central government, because that's what we want to call it. And who enables them? We do. And we really do need to cut the size of government. We need to cut spending across the board. We need to balance our budget. Again, kind of a takeaway, it's just, I don't want to sound gloom and doom as far as your portfolio is concerned. You need to continue to focus on the fundamentals. I don't want to come across here as like the sky's going to fall, the world is going to end. Okay. There's the possibilities in the greatest country. I wouldn't be here. Okay. I'd quit. If I was the case, I'd quit. I'd be on an island in Greece right now. Okay. But I don't believe that. Again, fundamentals in your portfolio, stick with what has always worked. And in times like this, with the type of volatility that we're seeing, guess what? Okay. It's going to involve patience. And along with patience, you need to have a little bit of courage. You need to stand in the face of the chattering classes. Okay, I want to move on to the UK. I know we've been talking a lot about this, but it's very important stuff. Everything you want to know about the UK crisis, but we're afraid to ask. Okay, you got a myriad of different stories here. I'm going to go through what the narrative is. The narrative is, this is what the media is putting out there. Again, this Joseph Sternberg actually lays this out pretty well. I'm going to give credit to him in his piece today in the Journal. The conventional view of Miss Truss's rise, an unfortunate fall, holds that markets took fright after then Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng on September 23rd announced a major package of tax cuts and energy subsidies. This triggered a rout in the market for the pound and government bonds, or gilts, as investors worried about the government's capacity to pay its bills. improperly hedged pension funds found themselves forced to sell gilts in ever larger quantities. The Bank of England stabilized the market with emergency gilt purchases, buying time for trusts and new Chancellor Jeremy Hunt, who's a scary son of a bitch. You got to look into this Jeremy Hunt character. To abandon the tax cut plans that had spooked investors, once she had done so, order was restored. Her departure will draw a line under this debacle. Oh, really? Just see gilts today. Take a look at the pound today. Every sentence and what I just said when I went over in this entire fable is what is called as a non sequitur. It doesn't add up by any stretch of the imagination. It doesn't. You take a look at the size of the tax cuts that they put in there, and they pale in comparison to all of the handouts and giveaways that they were putting for it. Put this in perspective. Okay, you're going back to tax rates from just a couple years ago, and that's going to destroy your budget. You have all of these people that, again, they make promises. They call themselves the Conservative Party in the UK. They're not conservative. Did you not think that Liz Truss told everyone what she was planning on doing? The only thing that she didn't tell the rest of the Conservative Party was she was lowering the top rate by 5 percentage points. That's it. They knew everything else. Isn't it amazing how they all just ran? They all, oh, no. Again, they were worried about their positions. That's all. Commentators, back from Sternberg's piece, commentators have coalesced around a theory that markets scorned the tax cut plan because investors feared it would be inflationary. Yet they've all seemingly accepted that the proper solution is for the government to backtrack on the central bank's anti-inflationary policies, as when the Bank of England hints it might further delay its already languid quantitative tightening. And success for the central bank and administration alike is measured via falling gilt rates. The market's beef with Trussonomics was that, quite frankly, it might have worked. The episode exposes the astounding fragility of the global financial system after nearly 15 years of extraordinarily low interest rates and quantitative easing. British pension funds cannot survive higher rates. They can't. Is this problem coming soon to a theater near you? Again, we talked about treasury strips here and how our pension funds are leveraged a little bit differently. Again, all of this financial engineering and all of these derivatives and all this stuff that is thought up by Wall Street, again, it's putting a Band-Aid on a wound. When you have funding problems for pensions, when you have the concept, just the demographic issues with people living longer, when politicians make promises when it comes to certain pensions that are out there. Again, the UK doesn't want to deal with reality. And I explained to you what had taken place in Greece after 2010. Everybody's pension just cut. They had no choice. They had no choice. And again, we've talked about it here on the program. Listen, believe it or not, I could, it's not too far off. I could start collecting Social Security. Might I get it? I don't know. I'm going to put it off as long as I possibly can, but might we see cuts? Yeah, we might, unless we got our act together here. In essence, and the warning to conservatives here, so-called conservatives here, you want to call it the Republican Party. I don't even know. Republican Party to me is a joke. It really is. It's a sad joke. You make promises and you don't follow through. That's, again, what the Conservative Party in the UK is. They've had power for 10 years. What did they do? They've had power for 10 years. What did they do? They wrecked the energy policy. They had Brexit. Okay, many of them didn't even want Brexit in the first place. They failed to move forward on the things that were necessary. They continued in their handouts and giveaways. Tons of stimulus due to COVID. And again, I go back to the issues that we're seeing now, because again, stories that are bantering about, talking about all the waste and fraud and COVID relief and whatnot. Most of the Republican Party was going along with all of this nonsense and extended unemployment. And we warned about this and talked about this here on the program. Listen, people, I'm just telling you, okay? I just at this point in time, we got to start learning from other countries' follies. Why make the same mistake? Anyway, let's talk a little bit about snap crap. That's right. We'll call it snap crap, shall we? Snap. When this company went public, I mean, the initial day, the stock went through the roof, and we explained that. I'm being honest. Okay, I can't get my hands on hot IPOs. I'm on a blacklist. I'm on a Wall Street blacklist. Why am I on a Wall Street blacklist? Because I'm just going to sell it. I'm going to sell it. Hey, listen, if you're going to give me a winning lotto ticket for the day, guess what? I'm going to get my clients in and I'm going to get them the hell out. I'm going to get them in and I'm going to get them the hell out. It's the concept out there that the executives, the CEO of this company, the investment bank prices a stock to go public at a certain price, and you're willing to pay a 20, 30, 40, 50% premium. And back during the dot-com age, it'd be over 100% premium that very day, which is the equivalent of some guy buying let's put it this way, buying a pizza parlor in your town. Guy's got a pizza parlor for 30 years, sells his pizza parlor for $100,000. And you say, no. You come to the guy and say, no, I'm going to buy it from you for $150,000 that same day. Huh? Don't you think the owner of the company had a good idea what the value of his business was worth and priced it accordingly, but you're willing to pay that much more? There's no logic or reason behind that type of thinking. But again, if I got in at the IPO price and sell it that same day, that's what I would do. But again, they know we're going to do that. They know we're going to do that, so they don't give us those IPO shares anymore. And if you're working at a firm that does get them to you, what do they tell you? Oh, you need to hold on, and maybe you should buy some in the aftermarket, because that's what their stockbrokers / advisors are told to do. Because the investment firm, Wall Street, makes more money laddering the stock up. And their job is to get through the quiet period and get all of the inside investors out, make them fat and happy. We told you this was what was going to happen. Snap from the get-go. Not a real company. It's cute. Okay, it's a trick. It's a way for kids to communicate with one another and their parents not find out. It's a way for kids to get around their parents finding stuff out. Anyway, their growth is going into the toilet. They got the CEO of that company. Again, this is part of the problem too. You have a lot of these companies that went public, the venture capitals. The executives have these special shares that give them special voting rights, so you can't throw them out. So these guys made millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars taking this company public. They're loaded. And basically, they hang on at the company as the stock continues to tank. I think Snap is more than 50% below its IPO price. Like it's some sort of toy or hobby, and you can't get rid of them. But again, this is the game of greater fools that we try to warn you about. Don't be the greater fool. It's one big sales ad machine. After the dot-com collapse, there's a lot of great companies that came in. They were talking about the collapse of the dot-coms. There was a lot of shit, but there was also a lot of great companies as well. Think about it. Companies that are here today. You know the power of Amazon, for crying out loud. That came out of that. It's a company that sold books. Look at it now. Right here, that part of the time, Apple was in the toilet. I mean, companies that really turned it around a lot was built and created over that period of time. And guess what? If you were smart, you were able to get in at a very good price. Now, again, venture capital firms, they're not concerned about a company that's going to be around for the long haul. They're concerned about getting out. I want my money out. Let's sell it to the greater fools, the masses, by taking the company public, and we're out and we can wash our hands of the entire thing. That's the business, people. That's what Wall Street, unfortunately, has become. And it's ugly. And again, we told you this was going to happen. This is going back to George W. Bush and all the crap that they put forward back then, Sarbanes-Oxley after the dot-coms, and all the crap, the nonsense. Oh, we're putting a Chinese wall up between this. I'm like, Wall Street will find a way to get paid. They'll find a way around this, and they have. And again, it takes away the opportunity for average everyday investors to get in at the bottom. You're not getting the IPO of a company is oftentimes, more often than not, not the bottom, but the top. You're top ticking at an IPO is what you're doing. Anyway, and what take away I'm going to learn from this? You just got to understand, people, and I say it weekly on my weekend radio show that we also podcast, watchdogonwallstreet.com. Anyway, everything in life that has meaning, value, and worth involves work, time, and effort. All right, Rapid Fire Friday. That's what we'll call it. Rapid Fire Friday. I'm just going to go through a series of stories here that I find interesting and what we can take away from them. All right, bring on the Bobs. I love the Bobs. The movie Office Space. I haven't watched it in a while. I got to go back and watch it. Yeah, the Bobs. The guys coming in, interviewing people, and good luck with your layoffs, Bobs. But anyway, Musk is bringing on the Bobs, planning to fire 75% of Twitter staff. Sorry? Good. We need more tech companies. We need more executives to start firing all of these little Marxists making six figures a year. Isn't it amazing? Got all these left-wing Marxists making six figures plus a year. You're gone. You're gone. Lean, mean, fighting machine. That's what America has to get back to. Again, I go back. I always loved that scene. Teldar Paper, Wall Street. And Gecko's yelling about all the vice presidents and the paperwork and the money that they're making and all the hunting and fishing trips. It's not even vice presidents anymore. It's the average worker at these tech companies. Get rid of them. Good. There's a long story today about the Wall Street, in the Wall Street Journal, talking about Russia and how Putin's attempt to try to resurrect the Soviet Union is actually breaking the country apart. Again, spooky stuff. And again, it's really interesting. It gets into all of the various different ethnic groups that comprise Russia. And obviously it was greater when it was the Soviet Union, but how they're all apart and how they're all pushing back now. And, what does that mean? I don't know. But again, here is a country. It's frightening to the sense that this is a country that has nukes. He's pushing people away. He's sending, his various different military personnel to all of these, ethnically diverse areas and saying, send us your kids. You need to give us our kids. Give us your kids because they got to go fight in the Ukraine. And Zelensky's appealing to these various different ethnic groups saying, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. So again, it's going to be fascinating to watch. There has been some chatter here or there that Russia wants to just go back to the way it was pre-February. I don't know if that's true or not. I've heard it and read about it in several different publications, but Ukraine at this point in time is like, no, we want Crimea back as well. I do think that there is a negotiation to be had, and the sooner the better. Anyway, this I read, and again, I live in the state of New York, and there's many areas got their liberal tendencies, and this wouldn't happen. This wouldn't happen at our high school. It wouldn't happen in our school district. I'm not making this up. This is in San Diego. San Diego, the Encinitas Union School District. The school is promoting a promotion. It's a Halloween party, a boo bash for elementary school children. Elementary school children. Now, again, go back in time. Go back in time to when you were in elementary school. You have memories of Halloween and trick-or-treating and some of the Halloween stuff that you did back in elementary school. They probably don't allow it now, bobbing for apples and all this fun stuff. Right? Upstate New York, we're going to Indian Ladder Farms and we're getting apple cider and donuts. It was nice. It was wonderful to be a kid. I always had my homemade costume. The mother would help us out with. But anyway, neither here nor there. This is for elementary school. The queerest free Halloween party for youth and families. Elementary school. And it's sponsored. Yes, this queer Halloween party is sponsored by sex change specialists, Aligned Surgical Associates, a gay exotic dance nightclub, Riches, San Diego gay neighborhood, Fabulous Hillcrest, San Diego Pride, North County LGBTQ Resource Center, Trans Family Support Services. I can go on and on and on. This you have a gay bar. You have a gay bar. Exotic night, strip club, and a section. They're sponsoring an event for elementary school children. That honestly, our school district here, I'm not even allowed to sponsor anything. No, we're not allowed. We can give money, which you do, but you can't sponsor any events. There's no court we can sponsor anything to public schools. If they tried to pull this in our neighborhood, I'm just being honest here. People start going missing. I'm just telling you. What is wrong? I know some parents are up in arms here. How do you allow it to get to this point in time? And why wouldn't you revolt and yank all of your kids out of school? I mean, I'm sorry. At some point in time, you got to move where the sane people are. It's like the old Sam Kinison bit from back in the 1980s. I've talked about this before on the program. I was talking about all the aid to Africa. And don't send them food. Don't send them money. Send them U-Hauls. Tell them to move where the food is. At some point in time, and now you can, with the way work is in this country, move to where sane people are. Just saying. Anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, everybody. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. Our site, WatchDogOnWallStreet.com.